Cinema Cycle fans. It's March the 1st, 2016. It's Monday. Little break there. Had guests in from out of town this past weekend, so didn't get a lot of cinema cycling done, but Random Media Generator has given me a new list, and first off that list is a treasure. Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines. The first of two movies, the second one being Those Daring Young Men and Their Jaunting Jalopies, which I've also got somewhere. I've seen this movie before. Been years since I've seen it, though. I do remember what it's about, and I remember it was whimsical and humorous. It's more likely a trip through the museum just to see all of the airplanes that they have in this film, and the fact that they actually flew. So, one of those great ensemble cast movies from the 60s, international film, stars from every basic country on earth getting together for one big party and film fest to make a rollicking good comedy. Okay, 2 hours of fun coming up. So, unfortunately, this is not the widescreen version of this, although I have it stretched on the TV. But it is the uncut version. I think a lot of times this had been cut down to show on TV. So this is the actual theatrical version of this film. And it's funny to watch these older films like this, which is the large ensemble international cast, because the first 40 minutes is just spent on character development. You know, here's this person, and it's so funny because they're all stereotypical of the country that they're from. So, yeah, it's a long setup for the film. It's entertaining to watch. It's very good, but it's something you don't see much anymore. And this is the kind of film. It's good just to turn the sound off and you just watch it. It's like watching, like I say, some kind of museum piece. It's almost like Downton Abbey in certain instances. Oh, so my comment on this movie, besides its lavish look and interesting historical significance, is that this is basically a slapstick extended action sequence film where you have usually comedic, although sometimes it's supposed to be just scary, I guess, but it's very Keystone Cop-like. And the scenes go on for a long time, almost to the point where it's like it gets boring. And, it's like, okay, you cut 5 minutes out of this action, bizarre comedy chase scene. But I'm assuming when this film was done, which I think is the early 60s, you went to the theater for an experience and you want to get your money's worth. So, you don't want to see one pie in the face, you want to see 300. That's kind of what this is. Since this is like a 2-hour movie, and since I said this is the theatrical cut of it, there's an intermission. I just get to hear music for like 4 or 5 minutes there. As I sit here and listen to this is actually interesting. This is actually the whole score. This is like a 5-minute piece, and it recalls that time back in Hollywood, like late 1960s, when they did these lavish, impressive roadshow kind of pictures, and they would actually commission, a score. And this wasn't so much a soundtrack like you get now. You do still get that like in Star Wars, but you don't have these thematic scores where each character has their own lyric and has their own theme, and it's lavish and it weaves in and out with all these different, almost like an opera, almost like an opera, like some kind of like gay Parisian kind of thing. So you just don't hear this much anymore. This sweeping score that I got swirling around on the surround sound system. It's kind of nice. So you have to get to side 3 of this laser disc, which is like an hour and a half into the movie, before you finally get to the big finale, which is the race. This is an air race between London and Paris. And so when it finally takes off, after so many Benny Hill Keystone Cop routines, it's really impressive because these are actual vintage pre-World War I airplanes that they actually flew around the turn of the century, and they're flying over the British countryside, and it's like, damn. To film is one thing. To have actually done it back in 1900 when nobody else had a plane. It was all experimental. It's pretty cool. Movie has ended. One of the little bit of Hollywood trivia here is that in the opening sequence, prior to the credits and at the end of the film, you get to see cameos by Red Skelton, which is kind of cute. He never says anything, but he's funny nonetheless. So Halliwell's film guide for this movie is interesting in that most people don't actually know the title of it. The title actually is, and this was in the opening scenes, it's Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines, or How I Flew from London to Paris in 25 Hours and 11 Minutes. That's the actual title. Halliwell says, in 1910, a newspaper owner sponsors a London to Paris air race. Long-winded, generally agreeable knockout comedy with plenty to look at, but far too few jokes to sustain it. And then there's also a critique of it that indicates that there is many a likely gag, but none that survives the second or third reprise. It could have been a good bit funnier by being shorter. The winning time is 25 hours and 11 minutes, and by observing some kind of neo-Aristotelian unity, the film seems to last exactly that long. It's true. It's a funny film, yeah. It's better than most stuff Disney ever put out, so.